What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with a new comic book day haul. I decided to go live during this time. Don't know if anybody's going to show up, but it seems like a couple already have. We already got Perry lurking and twerking in the background. Not exactly the thought I want to have going through my mind, but hey, glad you're here. But yeah, so decided to do the new comic book day review today. And, if everybody catches on the rewind, that's fine too. But in either case, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that when videos like this drop ever so randomly, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. As long as you watch it, we appreciate you. So do want to say thank you to all the subscribers out there and all the recent channel members. For those of you who haven't noticed yet, if you're not watching this on a mobile device, you'll see a little thing saying join down there, and you can join the channel, and you get little perks that go along with it. And we're got several channel members already, and do want to shout out to you guys for that, as well as the Patreon. Both links are down in the description below if you're interested in that, and if you're not, that's fine too. So first off, we got seven secrets. I'm a big fan of Tom Taylor overall. I like what he did with Deceased, and we'll get to it in a minute, but at least the first issue was pretty good of Batman the Detective. But the Seven Secrets has kind of lost me. I just happened to pick up the In-Hut Lee special cover of #1 and said, okay, it's interesting enough. But this is issue 7, which I just finished, and it has totally lost me. I don't know that it's really worth me going back and rereading it to see what I've missed. I know he's trying to set up a new world and new thoughts, and okay, this is the secrets, and these are the keeper of the secrets, so on and so forth. But there's just way too many moving parts, and it hasn't grasped me to the point to where I say, okay, let me read this a little more thoroughly. So 7 might be the last issue of Seven Secrets for me, ironically enough, right? Then we've got Chariot from AWA Upshot. And so this is issue 2, and this is an interesting premise. So Chariot is basically like Knight Rider from back in the day. One of the secrets is you will be lost by the end of the year. It's no secret now. It's out in the open. But it's a lot like Knight Rider in that this girl's, this girl's sister, is her consciousness is in this car that saves this guy. And basically she promises him, hey, I'm going to get you to straighten up and fly right, but I need your help in doing something. And her sister is trying to stop her at that. So the first issue basically ended with the car saving him. And this kind of continues the first meeting of her sister and her, and with him trapped in the middle. And that sounded a lot weirder than what it was meant to. But anyhow, it's a pretty good issue, and it's only a 5-issue miniseries, and so probably going to continue on that one. Flash by Night, what's up? Lurking, working, and buffering? Oh, buffering. Slow dial-up. Now, I don't know if anybody's on dial-up anymore, but slow nevertheless. Batman Urban Legends. Now, Legion of Comics was talking about that you're kind of getting towards Batman fatigue, and I can certainly see it. Even though I'm a Batman fan, it's like, okay, they're doing the same thing that Marvel has done with characters like Wolverine and Deadpool, in that you just like oversaturation. They're in every team, they're in every book just to try to increase sales. And you've got a lot of characters, DC, that are out there that are not being used. Why not build them up and maybe some of them side stories that you're starting to put in your books, and then let them take off and fly and gather a following of their own. However, the Batman Urban Legends has been pretty dope thus far. It's a series of short stories, both with #1 and #2. I like the one that Chip Zdarsky is I think this is only a mini as well, but I like the one that Chip Zdarsky, who is writing Daredevil, obviously, but what he's doing with Red Hood is really interesting. I like most of the stories in this. I like the Grifter is being used more often because I am a Wildcats fan, and this Matina cover with the split face there is really dope. Grifter and Red Hood, because spoiler alert, they meet each other in one of the stories, and so that was pretty nice as well. So definitely on board with that as of now. And talking about some Batman fatigue, Mr. Garrow, hello there. We've got Batman the Detective, but it's really easy to kind of overlook the oversaturation of Batman currently when you've got top tier talent on one and a different kind of look at it. So this right here, Batman the Detective, is done by Tom Taylor, which I mentioned earlier with Seven Secrets, and Andy, I think it's Andy. Yeah, Andy Kubert. Get him and his brother Adam mixed up. So basically, this girl falls out of a plane. Batman's older now. Everybody's gone. They got this knight and squire thing going on. And they've come to find out at the end of this issue that these people dressed up like Batman in white are trying to kill them. That's nothing new. But they're trying to kill them, and they're trying to kill all the people that Batman has saved over the years. So definitely had me at the first issue, so looking forward to that. And it's just a 6-issue mini as well. Slim Comics and More, what is going on? How are you? Then we got Maestro War and Pax. So I had originally wasn't too enthused with the first part, but Peter David is kind of the OG guy for me when it comes to Hulk, because he wrote Hulk for so long during the time when I was really reading it at that young and impressionable age. And so he's doing enough to keep me interested. I like the covers because normally the covers are done by Keown, who was drawing Hulk during that time. A lot of that time, Peter David was writing it. However, the interior work could use some help. I'm not sure who the artist is on that, but the interiors weren't all that great to me. I figure that this is a mini series, which seems to be the new norm. It's funny that not that that's anything different, right? Because Marvel and DC really like to rehash the number one because they know number one sell for more. So they really like to rehash the number one thing. So everything's basically a mini series. They're just now admitting that everything's a mini series. So Darkhawk, the Heart of the Hawk. So celebrating 30 years. And so the original OG creators, this is an N. Huck Lee cover, so this was pretty nice. And the first story is actually done and drawn by Mike Manley, who was one of the creators of Darkhawk. So that was pretty cool to see that. And then another story as they kind of progressed them, because if you follow Darkhawk back in the day, hey, thanks, Slim, for stopping by. But if you follow Darkhawk back in the day, it started out really good. Manly to me, Manly had a crisp, sharp look to the helmet, like you kind of got with N. Huck Lee almost here. And then as time went on, his helmet more rounded. It looked really lazy as far as the artistry, and his origin became really wonky. Everybody wanted to know what Darkhawk, because he was switching bodies. Okay, they found out about that. They found out how Portal has a Darkhawk armor because he killed the guy that had the armor, so on and so forth. Wink, Ian, what's up? I said Wink. I combined Ian and Wink together. T-Pain, how's it going, man? So anyways, it kind of got wonky. So it kind of needed some retconning. And when they did War of the Kings, basically he's part of the Shi'ar Empire, Empire. And he is with Leandra and all that. He is a raptor, and you learn about all that kind of stuff. So that was actually a retcon that made it, cleaned up the origin a little bit. So they did one of the stories in there during the War of Kings, or right after War of Kings. Joker number 2, another Batman title. So I am picking up more DC, but I think they're still mostly Batman titles. So I really didn't realize that this was going to. The Varangian Vigilante is up in the house. Hey, man, you still haven't sent me that list yet. I need that list because I've got some books and I'm trying to make some room. I got all those Conan books. I need to send them to you. Big Will says, I have arrived. I didn't know that this was going to be as big of a thing. It's Bane's daughter, first appearance of Bane's daughter. There's a lot of cool covers. Normally I go with like the Mark Brooks looking cover. Lee Bermejo did the B cover, which I really liked. It shows Punchline with a bunch of little stuffed jokers. But I chose to go with the A cover this time for whatever reason. I should have picked up several more. If there's any left when I go back to the LCS next week, I will pick up some extras because that is gotten to be a hot book really really quick. Yeah, no problem. I just got all those Conan, and I don't mind sending you anything you ain't got. I just didn't want to fill your coffers with things that you already had. Hidden Gem Comics up in the house. What's up? What's up? Then we got the Immortal Hulk. Now, this is not new this week, but I went by a shop that I normally don't go by just because of the way they price things. But I did go by there, and they had a copy of this, and so I picked it up. So these are kind of cool. What about Thor number 14? So this is the end of the Prey. This is the last issue of that. So Thor shows up in the Destroyer armor to take out, what's his name? Donald Blake. And kicks his butt, takes his name, basically tells Odin to go mind his own business in the world of the dead. I'm the king now. And at the end of the story, gives Donald Blake over to Loki. You know, the thing with, I've really enjoyed this Thor run. I did not read Dale of Suspense. What's up, man? How are you? Cat 60 Designs. How are you? Then we've got Hoarder's Hide, one of the members of the channel. How are you doing tonight? He was testing his off air, so to speak, testing his new equipment and showing off some fire books that he's got last night. But this seems to me like Donny Cates knows how to build suspense. He's a hype man. He knows how to build the suspense. It's like with the whole thing with Black Winter. Not that he's done with him. It's just that, you build up this crescendo and it was anticlimactic because it's like, okay, he just kicked his butt, killed Galactus. All right, no, next. Wow. That sucked. And to me, with Absolute Carnage and what I've heard about King in Black, it was kind of the same way. You had this big build-up when Null is the big baddie. Who can take out Null? Yada yada yada. Venom comes in there. Eddie Brock comes in there and kicks Null's butt and says, "All right, I'm done." It's like he knows how to build it up, but he just didn't know how to land the plane, right? He just kind of crashes it into the ground and says, all right, now I'm on to the next thing. And so for me, that was kind of the same thing. Weird Science 75, what's up? I don't know that I've ever seen you in the chat, but appreciate you stopping by. That old comic smell. New comics today, they don't smell as good. But so kind of the same way with Thor 14. Probably going to continue on Thor. As far as I know, Donny Cates is staying on Thor. He's moving off of Venom. Don't know who's going to pick up Venom as of yet. If anybody in the chat knows, feel free to, or if you're catching this on the rewind, in the description below. Yeah, sort of like every action movie, right? Yeah, exactly. And well, and to that point, a lot of writers, I won't blame every writer, but a lot of writers are writing nothing but scripts for movies these days, and so it affects the way they write. So is Donny Cates doing the same thing? Is that really that, or is he not as good as what people are making him out to be? I don't know. You decide. Then we've got Wolverine number 11. So Ben Percy is still on this, and Ben Percy, as far as I know, is still on X-Force. The newest issue of X-Force comes out next week. And those have been the two most consistent titles. in the X universe since House of X Powers of 10, which got me back into reading comics, in particular floppies. This has been the more consistent title aside from X-Force, because I really wasn't impressed with the Swords trilogy. I know that Varangian Vigilante's favorite writer, Teenie Howard, was in the middle of that, and that was probably why. But they've got this vampire connection, which they've done before with the X-Men. So this is not uncharted waters, which is fine because I liked it when they did it. And since Omega Red basically is like a vampire, they've got him in the middle, and that's pretty cool too. I kind of lean towards the hype around Omega Red and the Falcon Winter Soldier deal. And the reason why is because they have started, reusing characters more often when they're fixing to show up in the MCU. I think he just has ADHD. Oh, okay. On to the next deal. And the other thing, though, when you get to the point that you have so many irons in the fire, you got to think that, all right, you're everybody's only got so much creative juice, right? And if you're spreading it out to all these different titles and coming up with their own little different deals, then you got to think that eventually you're not going to be any good. You're not going to be really great at any one of them. You're going to be okay at all of them, but just that. Okay. Do you have beans? What's up? And he says, I bet. There's certain titles that if somebody can't do right, you think, can you really write? How'd you get this job? How did you get this job? Then we've got Bounty Hunters number 11. This title has probably been the least favorite. I don't do Doc Afra, so discounting that one. So Star Wars and the Darth Vader titles have been solid. This has been the least favorite one. The art that Lee Bermejo was doing the covers for these, which was really good. Then they kind of went lackluster, and then the interior art has kind of tapered off as well, in my opinion. But we're fixing to crank up the Bounty Hunter storyline with Boba Fett, and it's going to go across the titles. And so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's not just a cash grab by Marvel, which they're known to do with their tie-ins and crossovers and such. We'll see if it's any good. Small week for me. Only pickup was, this week was actually a bigger week for me. Typically I've been paying like $40-something, and this is after my discounts. But I've been paying $40-something in new comic books a week. This was actually $50-something. So, but I don't know that it was that I got any more as much as it was what I got. So, for instance, you got Darkhawk was $4.99. The Batman Urban Legends, I think, was $8. So it seems like there was another one in there somewhere that was more expensive than usual. So that Big Herm, what's up? What's up? Happy birthday, Southern Comic Geek. Happy birthday to you, or soon to be birthday, real in life birthday with Captain Comics there. Cash grab from Marvel? No way. I know, right? Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? And not that they should be cash grabbing, right? I mean, they're a business. That's what they do. I mean, they've got to have money to pay the bills. So it's not like that's an evil thing. It's just, okay, give me something for my cash. If you went to Walmart and they said, okay, here's this moisturizing cream, oil of Olay. And so here's this moisturizing cream, and it's supposed to, make your wrinkles go away. And you buy it, and then you go, okay, my wrinkles didn't really go away. And then you go back, and it's not called oil of Olay, but it's called oil of Olay. But it's supposed to make your wrinkles go away, and it doesn't. And we keep going back to the same well, and they just change up just a little bit, just enough to make you buy it again and hope for the best. And at some point, we have to go, Pocan Joe, don't have no coffee, but awkward sip of drink. Every day is a birthday with comics. There you go. There you go. Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon, number 4. So this is a wild crossing adventure where Iron Fist and Luke Cage, which I appreciate the team up because it's going back OG with Power Man and Iron Fist, which I like that series back in the day. I haven't liked the iterations that they've done with Heroes for Hire / Power Man and Iron Fist since then. And the reasoning behind it is because it seems to me that they make Danny or Iron Fist much more goofy than what he used to be back in the day. Because in the day, in the 70s, I keep saying in the day, like I'm old. To some, I am old. What is going on? Sleeping Collectibles, the newest member to the YouTube channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have never checked out Sleeping Collectibles, go check this guy out. Does great giveaways, awesome, chill fireside chat. And so he, really cool guy. So go check him out if you haven't already. Go check him out. Let's see. And thank you for joining too. Let's see. Why did Genie Zero not come out or get recalled? Genie Zero. You lost me on that one, bud. So it seems to me that they made him way goofier than what he used to be. So I like this in that they're more equals, which is what they were supposed to be. They were partners with Heroes for Hire. One would come from the streets and had got put into prison and got out. The other one was a rich kid trying to find his way in the world he wasn't used to. But they still came together because they had more in common than they had different, which is what I feel like most of us are, right? And that was the magic to me with Power Man and Iron Fist back in the day. And nobody's really recreated that. You have some of that with this, though. You don't have Danny being really goofy and, all this other kind of stuff. You have Luke Cage. And I like the progression that Luke Cage has kind of gone because he's still the hard-nosed street guy, the Power Man, right? But he's now dad too. And so I feel like they've kind of progressed his character. So that's really good. So this series has been pretty good. I mean, it hasn't been great, but it's been pretty good. And it's only a mini series. Larry Hama, who is known for his G.I. Joe work and his 90s work on Wolverine, is definitely been cool. Power Man and Iron Fist were a perfect combo. Yeah. And so it was a pretty cool premise back in the day. Then we got American Vampire 1976. This is one of DC's black labels. This is book 7. So Scott Snyder writes this, and there was a preceding story that I never got into, and I keep saying that I need to go back and get the graphic novels so I can kind of get the backstory for all these warring vampire fractions. So they're like little clans, and this clan, the Carpathians, and all this different vampire warring sects. If you pick up with number 1 like I did, you can pretty much read and kind of stumble your way through enough. But when they start talking about stuff, I don't really know what it is, but you can still stay on with the story, not even knowing. This particular one actually puts George Washington in, and it reminded me of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. If you ever seen that or read that, it's a pretty interesting premise that essentially, like in Abraham Lincoln's case, the vampires had was helping the South win, and so and they're the ones that killed Lincoln's kids and so on and so forth. It was really interesting if you had never seen it, read it. Because I'm lazy. That's why. That's because I'm lazy. That's because I'm lazy. Let's see. But yeah, feel free to drop that link in the group chat. So what he's talking about, everybody that's a member of the YouTube channel is we've got an Instagram group thing that we put together and drop that stuff in. It's all still new to me. But so with this, George Washington basically was making a deal with the vampires to win the Revolutionary War. And when he double crossed them, that's when he died. So it's kind of interesting. I like it when they take like real life history and kind of put this like spin behind the deal, which is kind of what's Department of Truth is doing. But it was doing it in such a weird way that I was like, I'm out. But I know a lot of people like Department of Truth, but it's kind of the same deal. William Smallwood, what's up? What's up? How are you doing today, sir? Rorschach, baby, Rorschach. Rorschach. No, that's Love Shack, but this is Rorschach. So Rorschach, he is pretty cool character originally from The Watchmen. This Rorschach is not the same Rorschach, right? Because not near mint. What is going on with you, Rob Worst? Rob Worst been interviewing all kinds of folks over on his channel. But Rorschach is not the same guy. Obviously, at the end of Watchmen, they actually couldn't pass. Yeah, I kind of thought that it was going to be more like Sienkiewicz or Bill Sienkiewicz, depending on who you are, right? But I thought it was like that, but it just like it was past Sienkiewicz. It was past Sienkiewicz. And I'm like, because I can get Sienkiewicz, right? But Department of Truth was a little much for me. And it was like way out there. And, with comics being more expensive, with my personal taste being very expensive, with the books that I'm going after, the bronze, copper, the golden age stuff, silver age, you start having to put your money, really where it's at. And, with comics there being a lot of good comics out there, why not save your money for the great stuff? And Department of Truth really didn't catch me with that. When you have a new book that you're trying to set up this whole world and premise for, it's like I was talking about with Seven Secrets earlier. Yeah. And the deal with Sienkiewicz, he can lean more traditional. If you think about his Moon Knight, the first magazine appearance of Moon Knight or Moon Knight #1, that's him. But it doesn't look like his work. He can go like traditional style if he wants to. So he can kind of lean in or lean far out, depending on the mood. But it's like what I was talking about with Seven Secrets. In the first few issues, you got to put enough out there, to get people interested. But you got to not put so much that you get them disinterested. Because there's a lot of OG material out there that people just assume stay with, right? But 30 days a night type of artwork for us. So okay, yeah, and it's really what's your flavor, what you're looking for, and to me, it's kind of the mood that I'm in. It's kind of the mood I'm in, right? Because sometimes I'm in a mood for Batman, and then I read a bunch of Batman. And I'm like, all right, I'm Batmaned out. It's time for X-Men. And then I'll read a bunch. I'm X-Men out. Let's go to Star Wars. And that's the way I kind of do things on my regular book reading. That's the way I do it as well. I do like biographies, fiction, nonfiction. I try to mix it all up because too much of one thing, even though it's good, there is such thing as too much of a good thing, right? So I think that's how I traditionally type of do, and there just wasn't enough room for Department of Truth. So talk about Rorschach. So this is a different guy, and this is Tom King writing it. Now, Tom King traditionally does a better job to me in miniseries or maxi series. He doesn't do a good job like i.e. Batman. He's like, he had done told his story, but he had too many issues left. So he drew out that dream sequence too long. I know, right? It's like whatever flavor of Batman you want, there's a flavor coming out. And that's what I was talking about earlier. DC is like, okay, well, we know we can sell Batman. So let's just flood the market with Batman right now until we figure out what we're going to do with ourselves. I think they're trying something new with Superman. Bendis is off of that. Legion of Superheroes is going to go away, and trying something different. Excited to sit down and read Darkhawk, the original #1 star of my collection. Apparently 30 years. Oh, cool. Yeah, Darkhawk is a cool book, and Darkhawk is a cool book, and I got, before it blew up, I actually found 2 #1s. One's a newsstand and one's a direct in the dollar bins. Let's see, somebody's at my door. Oh, a second. But yeah, but to me, this is not Tom King's best work. I like the Rorschach character. It's not the guy, like I said, he got killed at the end of Doomsday Clock, or the Watchmen. It's not even the same guy as the Doomsday Clock, so it's kind of weird. Well, I think the hype around it was that, okay, Darkhawk's going to be the next biggest thing, and it did. I think some people were saying that tongue in cheek, but it really did make the book kind of go up there for being a $45 book or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, talking about Darkhawk, I remember the store the store that's a couple of blocks over from my house is where I picked that off the rack, and I used to get all the first parts of that series. Yeah, and sometimes the way they write stuff now, it's like you're asking people not to buy the floppies because it reads so much better as a graphic novel. So it's like you're asking people to do that kind of stuff. But hey guys, I'm going to get off. I've got some company that just showed up, and I'm the only one here at the house. But be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification if you haven't already. Check out the join options, as well as which include the Patreon option. I do appreciate everybody for hanging out. Hopefully you got some great comics and are going to be able to read them if you haven't already. And yep, that's it. Yeah, that's it. But appreciate you. Until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.